Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Assignment 1 feedback session for Building Sector Management. This is a really quick session just to show you how I went about marking the assignments. The results are now available, so you guys can have a look at it. Made some marks on each of your submissions, so go and have a look and see what I've got there. I use a tablet to provide the feedback, so it looks like I'm a little bit shaky, but it's just because the tablet is quite small and it is sometimes quite difficult adding the feedback, so but it's up there for you. Alright, so just a little bit of stats. There's 18 students in the course. 16 of you guys submitted your assessment items. 3 of them were late, and by late I mean they were, even if you're half an hour late, the system flags them as being late. And the average score is around about 15 out of 30, which is about 50%, which is quite alarming. It's quite a low score for a course like this. So I think we'll see a bit of an increase in the score and the effort towards the next assessment item. The highest there, 23 out of 30, good score, good evaluation of the data. And then of course the lowest one there is about 8 out of 30, which isn't great. But still plenty of time to pick up your game in the next assessment item. Alright, so there were 2 questions. The first one talks about the economic indicators and other Australian Bureau of Statistics data. Really easy stuff, so if you had some time, went in through it, really analysed it quite nicely. I wasn't too concerned about deducting marks or too many marks for accuracy and stuff like that. If you were sort of in the ballpark, I'm quite happy with it. I was more interested in your personal opinion and the evaluation, the analysis part. The second question dealt with the governments since 1991. It gives us a good indication of the history of Australia, seeing that we are dealing with the history and the impact of construction management in the industry. So it's interesting to see how many policies and procedures were implemented and what the effects of those were. So typically the union action, work choices, those types of questions. We'll go through 1 or 2 of those. Alright, so this is an area where a lot of people lost a lot of marks. So if you lost marks here, you can look at scoring better for next time. These are free marks. Alright, so in each of the assessment items they are free. So if you have a good cover page, page numbers, general presentation, all of those things, you get free marks for those. And of course the reference is really important. You cannot just have 1 reference or 2 references for assignments. You have to have at least 10 or so for an assignment this size. Make sure that you follow the Harvard referencing technique to reference those properly, also in text referencing. A few of you guys got it perfect, some of you guys got it completely wrong. Also the table of contents, very important. Some of you don't have that. Make sure that you include it next time. It does count a few marks. You can use the built-in stuff in Word if you like. There's lots and lots of YouTube hints that you can go and watch and see if you can get some info. Alright, so the first question, basically, and this is the same for both of these questions, always have an introduction and make sure that you contextualize it. Give me some context to the question. Why do you think it's important? Why do you think it's being asked? And never be shy with volume. Alright, so when you start out, make sure that you cover the things. And then of course the data analysis, splitting the industries into the different areas. In the question I gave you different points to look at, so it was quite important for you guys to have a look at each of those different points that you had to look at. The data analysis, really that was the crux of it, and of course you got 10 marks for the split of the industries and the impact of each of these on the GDP. So those were the things that I was looking for. Important discussion and opinions. Alright, so this is where most of you guys fell short. You just gave me 2 or 3 sentences at the end to say, well, go read the rest and this is now my assignment. And that's just not good enough for this assignment. Alright, so I want you guys to think about the discussions, the opinions, what you've given me. Now analyze it and give it to me in your own words, paraphrase it. What's your opinion? Where's the industry going to go? So that's where many of you guys fell short. So if we look at question number 2, Really an easy one. The information is all over the show. Wikipedia, primeministers.com.au, all of that stuff. You can easily go and get the information in there. And of course, the ABS yearbook is a good source of information in terms of looking at each of the terms, specifically the employment, the GDP, what policies were instigated during those areas. So what I was after for the first part of the question is just basically a list. These were the governments that were in power, and these were the prime ministers that represented them. And if you could give me a little bit of feedback or just a little bit of gumph around that to say, all right, this is the history, sort of a little bit of a history lesson there. And then the next part of the question, the fundamental policies. All right, so things like work choices, GST, the Industrial Relations Act, all of those things, they were typically the things that we were looking at. Also carbon tax, emission trading in the later years, what happened, were they successful, not so successful, how did it impact on the industry itself? And then of course the same thing towards the end, your personal analysis and your personal views on how each of these governments actually impacted on the construction industry. Alright, so just to give you a little bit of an idea, I've borrowed one of the assessment items from the submissions. Thanks John, he doesn't know yet that I've used it, but there it is. I'll maximize that and make it as nice as big as I can, and then I'll scroll through the different parts. Alright, so there's the table of contents, really basic and simple. This is more than enough for me. You can go completely haywire and add all of the stuff in there, that's also good, but as you go on and you present these professional reports, you will need a table of contents. Important that you have the student number and page numbers and things like that. And then of course, where's the introduction, the gross value added. And what I really liked about this specific assessment item is this student chose to make his own graphs based on the information from the ABS website, and then provide little tidbits of information on each. Alright, so that really gave me an idea of the understanding that the student had for the work. And what we might do is I might just scroll a little bit forward, and there you can see there's another good example. I'll zoom in a little bit so that we can see if we can fit this whole thing onto the screen. And there you can see there's the feedback that the student gave me. So more or less, what caused the bumps and the ups and downs in each of these graphs, and that gives us a good example. Alright, so let's scroll forward to the next question. That's enough of question number 1. So the next question was all about the different types of governments. So there we go, nice little table, very simple. And it gives me all the information that I sort of wanted for that first part of the question. There's our list of all the prime ministers and the type of government that we had. And then we go into the fun stuff. This is where we start talking about the unemployment, the policies and the procedures that each of these governments had in terms of the construction industry. And you can see there's the list. It continues on there, and quite nicely done. All the information that we want there is there, so you can see there's the ABCC that's in there, and of course the work choices that we spoke about earlier on. Alright, so there we go. That's basically everything that I wanted. So I'll just scroll all the way to the end, make sure that we show the references, and there you can see there's the reference list that we wanted according to the Harvard method. So you can see there's a website, Australian Bureau of Statistics, and viewed on November the 18th 2013. So you can see it's following the correct procedure. Alright, so there we go. That's basically what I wanted to show you guys as feedback for this assessment item. If you guys have any questions, please post them to the questions and answer database, questions and answers forum, and I'll see if I can answer them for you guys. Alright, have fun.